wanted to talk to you today on three popular programs that are extremely popular when people are considering getting a residency by investment that leads up to a second passport or even a third passport. And these countries are Belize, Panama, and Paraguay. And one of the reasons I wanted to bring this out is I think people have more questions about which one is the best between these three countries than probably any other country, because they're extremely inexpensive to get. There are quite a few disadvantages in getting these passports, but I'm going to tell you which one I like the best, and everybody's going to be different. I actually like Belize better, and I would pick Paraguay second, and I'd pick Panama third. Let me tell you why I would pick Belize first. Belize actually has the worst as far as visa-free travel, but I don't always look at visa-free to make that decision. Belize doesn't even have visa-free to the Schengen countries. Panama and Paraguay do. Okay, and these are the most popular countries in Europe to travel through. But Belize does have other things that I do like. Number one is I don't have to learn I don't have to learn the Spanish language fluently and take a Spanish test. English is the main language there in Belize. In Paraguay and Panama, you have to pass the Spanish test. What happens if you don't learn the language fluently enough after many years of residency and you don't learn it? Then you've wasted your time there trying to get the passport. Belize, you don't have that problem. And so this is something you really have to take in consideration. One thing I will tell you as far as getting dual citizenship, Belize does allow dual citizenship, and so does Paraguay. Panama does not. And I would tell you, I would put that at the very top when you're choosing countries. Don't ever go with a country that is going to make you give up your other passport to get citizenship with that country. There's so many things that can go wrong. I can just go on and on about this. You can look at my other videos that I've gone through on this, but the problem that you run into getting a second passport in a country that doesn't allow dual citizenship is if you have a problem and you decide to leave that country. Well, that passport's going to expire one day, okay? So you're going to have to renew that passport. And if you don't renew it, you can't renew any residencies, cellulars, anything that's in this other country that you've gone to. You can't do anything. You have to show a valid passport to get all those things done. That's why you need a second passport. In case there's a problem, you can use the other passport in the place of the one that you got the problem in. So these are, and I'm not trying to tell you how to break the law. I'm just telling you because there are things that are stupid laws in one country that other countries laugh at. You know, it's we got another video on that. You can look at the video on that one. There's criminal laws in one country that other countries would simply just make a joke about it. So you really have to look at these other videos and educate you on what I'm talking about here. So let's look at the three countries again. Panama does not allow dual citizenship. Paraguay does, and Belize also does. And that's another reason I like Belize over the other two, although Paraguay does allow dual citizenship also. But the English speaking I put that high priority on my list. I don't have to take an English or a test that I don't know the language of. This is a big key factor that I look at. All three of them have territorial tax systems. That's a big plus, and this is why so many people do like these three countries, in that they only tax income that's generated inside the country and not income that's generated outside the country. So you really need to look at that. But I would always tell you, don't get a passport and citizenship in a country that doesn't have either a pure tax haven type system or territorial tax system. These are key things that I would look at. And this is why I don't like a lot of countries in Europe, because almost all of them tax worldwide income that are in a lot of these other European passports that you can get. Like, for instance, Cyprus, even Malta taxes worldwide income. You can monitor that to where they tax you on income if you're a foreigner, bringing money, only funds that are actually brought inside the country. They have a similar tax system that Thailand's got, but it's not really a pure territorial tax system. And one reason is it's part of the EU. You're never going to find a pure territorial tax system in any country that's in the EU. So my advice is I would not be getting citizenship in an EU country. Let's look at some other things here. Visa-free travel to the Schengen countries you can do with the Paraguay passport and the Panama passport. You cannot do it with the Belize passport. Now, I think Belize will soon have visa-free to the Schengen countries. Why it does not now, I don't know, because there's just as much corruption in Panama and Paraguay as there is in Belize. And you probably have just as many bad dudes traveling on passports in Paraguay and Panama as you do in Belize. I don't know why. All I can tell you is I think because those other two do have visa-free to the Schengen countries, I think Belize will probably have it just in a few years. So I think that will be knocked out, that negative, as far as getting a Belize citizenship. All three of these are residency by investment type programs. They are not what I would call citizenship by investment. They are residency by investment. In other words, you can invest little bits or large amounts. All of them have different type of qualifications to actually get in there, but they're very low requirements on all three of these countries. And we have separate videos that you can look at on that. I don't have time to go into that, but we have separate videos on the requirements for those countries. These are things that you want to look at there as far as the travel that you can go to. The other thing I would look at too is the flexibility on the residency. Panama is pretty flexible. Paraguay is pretty flexible. Belize has a requirement the first year on residency that you really need to be there. After that, it's not really stated. They're not real clear, but I can tell you these immigration guys, when it comes time to you applying for the passport, I can tell you more than likely they're going to flip through your passport and they're going to look at how many times or the time period that you've been in that country. And if you've been basically vacant the whole time period that you're supposed to have residency there, don't count on getting the passport there. And they don't have a real stated period that they state there other than Belize for that 1 year, that first year. But my advice is I would try to be there as much as you can to try to get the passport. But they are all three very, very flexible on their residency there. Now, as far as the time period goes, Belize has a 5-year period before you can apply for a passport. The Paraguay program has a 3-year period that you have to be residing there before you can apply for the passport. And Panama has a 5-year period before you can apply for the passport. Now, you notice I said before you can apply. You will not get the passport after those time periods, I promise you. I've seen cases, I've talked to people. I've done a lot of experimenting and examining on these passports. Take the period of time that they tell you, multiply it times 2 or 3, and that's a conservative figure on getting the passport. Otherwise, you'll be disappointed if you're going to look at these time periods on trying to determine when you're going to get those passports. That's a key ingredient that you need to look at, because so many people look at those time periods and they depend on those time periods. Trust me, you won't get them in the 5-year period for the two countries or the 3-year period for Paraguay. So you need to take note of that. Otherwise, you're going to be really disappointed in the time period that you're staying there. All of these track records are pretty dismal in, I would say, the places in Central America as far as time periods before you can apply. When you go to first world countries like Canada, U.S., even the U.S. is kind of fuzzy on the EB-5. Canada's more sure, and also the U.K., but also they tax your worldwide income while you're getting your residency put in to get the citizenship. They're going to tax you to death. Where these other 3 countries, you can get around the tax totally, but you got the problem with trying to, it's a guessing game on when you're going to get that passport. So, this is the thing that you have to really look at. But like I said, none of them are going to guarantee you the passport. this is the thing that you really need to look at, is there is no guarantee, even if you have no civil or criminal problems at the time that you apply for the passport and getting any of these programs done. And I've actually put this in other videos. I go through this a lot, and people don't get this in their head, and they end up trying to apply for a passport either through citizenship by investment or residency by investment. And then all of a sudden they look at one of my videos and they go, crap, I wish I'd seen this beforehand, or crap, I remember that, but I didn't implement it. And that is these points here, and you really should implement this in your head. Remember, a good fast-track citizenship program has the following traits. Don't bypass any of these when you're looking for a passport. And that is, get a citizenship program that you know you can get as long as you have no civil or criminal past. A lot of these residency by investment countries don't go by their statutory requirements. In other words, after you've gone through the time period, the minimum requirements they've asked you to go through, you still can't get the passport. Some of these countries also require you to go through a military, to actually go through the military. Other ones, have bad tax systems. Like I said before, don't go in a program that doesn't have a territorial tax system or a pure tax haven in place. And I would also pick one that you don't have to learn a foreign language. It's a pain in the butt to learn a foreign language. Now, you might state that I made straight A's in school, it's an easy thing for me, then fine. I'm giving you a warning ahead of time. If you're willing to go through and learn the language fluently, then that's fine. If you think it's a hassle and a headache like me, then pick a country that speaks your language. If you're listening to this video, you speak English. So I would pick an English-speaking country. And of these three, Belize fits that category, and it also allows dual citizenship. So these are things that you want to look for. But remember also that when you're going to a country, this is something that I learned the hard way myself. And I actually learned a lot of this stuff myself. And that is, if you're not a citizen of a country and you go to a new country, a lot of countries will bar you out of the lucrative opportunities. Usually they're insurance, real estate, retail. There's a host of them. And you have to be a citizen to get in there. Sure, they'll tell you can come and work there, but when you get there, they're going to say, oh, by the way, so that's your profession. Well, you can't do that unless you're a citizen. So now you've moved there. You didn't check that out, and you spent thousands of dollars moving there. You need to make sure that you don't put the cart before the horse. You need to go and do some investigating to make sure that business can be done by residents and not by citizens. This happens a lot. I see more problems with this than probably anything. Because remember, if you're going to wait for that citizenship, you're looking at maybe 10 or 15 years out. What are you going to do? Twiddle your thumbs for that 15-year period while you're waiting. You need to make sure, do your background check on this before you start moving and getting all your stuff to another country, because this is what you're going to run into in a lot of cases. Panama is real bad for this. St. Kitts is bad for it. That's why if you get economic citizenship in 4 months, you don't have to worry about it with St. Kitts. Panama, you do, because it's going to take you 10 years to get the passport there. So you need to really look at that and observe it. But anyway, if you want to learn more on this, I would go to the website www.citizenshipquickly.com. If you want to learn more on how to get a second passport in as quick as 3 months, go and do this investigating. And also, what I would do is do 3 things. Hit the subscribe button to the right of your screen. You'll get new videos as they come out automatically. And number 2 is I want to hear from you. If you hit the comment section below, if you got any questions, I'll get back with you. And number 3 is go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and fill out a questionnaire. By hitting at the very top, it will say apply with us. And at the very bottom, after you fill out the questions, it will say send to us. Hit that button and the questions will come back. And I'll know more about you, and I'll know more about what you're looking for, and have a background on yourself. and I can help you more in this. We deal with 74 citizenship by investment, residency by investment countries, and each one's different. You know, I like the systems of Antigua and St. Kitts the best because they check all the boxes on dual citizenship, pure tax havens. You don't have to learn another language. You can get it in 3 or 4 months. All the negatives have been ironed out. This is why I like these type programs. But anyway, I'd like to hear from you and learn more by looking at our other videos. And I'll look forward to talking to you on the next video we put out. Take care.